To better understand the full story of TCW, please check the description for a link to TCW Retrospective, Zack vs. Chim. Teen Championship Wrestling was in a state of shock following the relocation of the company in late November of 2016. With a gaping hole left in the roster due to the inability to have Chim Chim perform, TCW had some serious holes to fill leading up to their inaugural championship match. Thankfully for management, the first championship match had already been promoted as the debut of Zoie against Zack for the TCW Championship at Perfect Strangers, a month and a half before Perfect Strangers took place. Zoie came into the fold with a lot of hype, amassing the most views of any promotional videos up to that point. It was clear that she was marketable for being of the opposite gender. There was a woman on the roster beforehand, but as we're about to see, no woman made the impact on TCW that Zoie did, for better or for worse. TCW Perfect Strangers was the fourth event in TCW's history. It took place on December 20th, 2016, and was split into 3 videos, 2 covering the match, and an episode of Aftermath afterwards, interviewing the winner of the match. The show felt radically different from the first 3 shows due to its change in venue and its cast. The TCW yard was nowhere to be found. Instead, we were introduced to a concrete pavilion with grass surrounding it. TCW would emanate their last show from there as well. Another status quo change was the loss of arguably the most popular wrestler, Zack's, long hair. It was a complete tonal shift for his image. The match itself stood out from the rest of the TCW catalog. It was a wild, character-driven brawl with a lot of interactions from the environment and trash-talking along the way. Though it's not quite at the level of Zack vs. Chim, the match certainly delivered what was promised, and hid Zoie's flaws of being new to the wrestling scene, as well as showing that she had an intangible star power. Zoie would win the match after slamming Zack's head into the TCW title on a crossbeam. In her post-match interview, Zoie seemed joyous and genuinely excited to grow the company and metaphorically put it on her shoulders as its champion. However, this would be the last time Zoie felt that way about the company and her championship behind the scenes. The seeds were planted for the 5th and up to the time of this recording, final TCW event, Field of Fight, back in late November of 2016. Behind the scenes, though, it was an internal struggle between TCW management and Zoie to get that show off the ground. The second hype video for Field of Fight was uploaded 8 days after Perfect Strangers, leading the fans to believe that Field of Fight was coming soon. However, internal struggles behind the scenes regarding commitment to the brand for Zoie pushed the date of Field of Fight all the way to January of the new year, 2017. Due to a lack of individual talents to carry the brand, this would also be the final TCW event of the initial run. TCW Field of Fight was the 5th and final original event from TCW, and it took place on January 11, 2017. Due to an unwillingness to commit to the company, the match card was changed from what was initially going to be a number 1 contenders match with newcomer Carnage and Izzy, and the winner going on to face Zoie for the title, down to just the championship match with Zoie and Carnage. The match itself was a first time ever 3 out of 5 falls, pinfalls only match. The match was a standard TCW match, nothing too special, due to a growing distaste in Zoie for her role. The stipulation of the match didn't lend itself too well to any originality by the wrestlers either, and Carnage ended up winning the bout in almost 9 minutes after a frog splash onto Zoie. If it isn't painfully obvious to anyone, the role of Carnage was played by Zack, meaning that through a technicality, he was the last TCW champion. Out of options for fresh matchups and losing one of the brand's biggest stars in Chim, TCW closed operations that very same day. The post-match fallout of Field of Fight was horrific because of the conditions of the grass left wrestlers soaking wet and dirty. Zoie refused to ever take part in TCW again. The case of Zoie in TCW is that of a mixed bag. It brought as much good to the product as it brought bad. She saved the company from shutting its doors after relocating, but she also put the axe on the promotion as its champion. The good of Zoie's influence in TCW stops at her championship win. because unfortunately, she wasn't ready to carry the company. Since then, she has delved into other aspirations in her life that are suiting her much nicer, and she's living her best life. We here at TCW have nothing but respect for her work for us, and we are grateful that she was there for us at a time where we needed a star.
Zoie being able to wrestle in TCW is a huge fucking deal, man. She's a chick. She's throwing boundaries. She's overcoming boundaries. She's overcoming fucking obstacles in her path. She is a really good fucking wrestler, and I'm proud to be able to work with her.